Hi guys, my name is Mark and this is the video everyone has waited for, the optimizing video of the AMD 7800X3D. Let's go guys. So, as I said already, today we will make another BIOS video like the ones you already know or maybe not know. If you have a 5950X or 5800X3D, I already have videos on this channel available for the optimization with the latest BIOS version at this point or at the point of recording of the videos, and they are here in this channel. You can just look for them. They are awesome. A lot of people use them. You can see in the replies and in the comments how good these videos are, and that's also the reason why we are doing or why I'm recording this video now for you. What you see here already on my screen recording is my new latest setup, the 7800X3D, which is running on a Taichi Carrara by ASRock. That's an X670E mainboard. It is equipped with a 4090 Hall of Fame Galaxy graphics card and with 2 DIMM sticks of G.Skill X5 XMP RAMs, not Expo RAMs, with 5600 megahertz, with CL26 or 20L timing, I don't know out of my head, we will see in a second. And now I show you how to basically optimize this setup to a point where you have a very high median of frames in every game with a very low reaction time, so with a low latency, and with low latency and delay switches, basically zero, because we will just kill off all the stuff. How will I do this? I will show you now. This is not a one-to-one guide, guys. This is just a guide where I show what I'm setting or using on a daily base for gaming for the lowest possible input lags. This may not work on your system, on your main board, with your CPU or with your RAM. Just keep this in mind. This is more video to learn about it and how it may works for you than just a copy ones. Okay? So what you see here now is like on Asus boards the easy mode, or here it's called, I think it's also called the easy mode here. It's like a graphical overview of what is set. Right before I started the video, I resetted the BIOS completely. It's completely bare. It's the last BIOS release before the beta release for the 7200 megahertz Expo RAM setups, which have for now basically zero benefits. And I will show you what you need to do. First, you go into the advanced mode. Then, one thing you may need in your system or whilst you're using this video is F4. Why you need this? Because you want to do basically all the steps, but you can't find this, or the buildup of your BIOS is different to mine. As I have a ASRock, you may have a Gigabyte MSI or whatever. So you may need this. F4, as much as I know, is basically on every UEFI BIOS the same, the search function. Here you can enter like the key terms and keywords or the stuff you see here on the screen, which I'm recording, to just find it in your BIOS and set it the way I set it, or maybe set it another way, different, like you like it. So that's one thing. Yes, I know. And the second thing is, we just start now. One thing which I really like on the ASRock board is the performance presets they have. They have a set curve optimizer with voltages, with clocks, and with Infinity Fabric, with basically everything set. And you have also the thermal throttling limit set. It's very easy. Here they just divide it by 85 degrees Celsius and 75 degrees Celsius. And it also has an applied curve optimizer of -20, -30 or -40, where I can say out of our community, where everyone wants like something like a 7800X3D or a 7950X3D, no one was able to run -30 or -40 not even on those 75 degrees Celsius, on a stable base. No one. Not with hand overclocked RAM. I think it's just not possible because how the chiplets and how the CPU package is made. I think that the thermal issue with not really contacting the top of the package and with the different heights of the CCDs and with the super thick spread is just awful. And I hope they rework it on the 8 session, and I hope Roman, der Bauer, is fast enough or fastens a little bit up for the direct die cooling system he wants to introduce and sell to us. I would buy it. I'm running a Mora 420 Pro with very big Noctua fans on it and a dual pump system with a D5 dual pump system, set it in a row, and a big heat killer heat killer 4 Pro. I still had it from the 5800X3D system, and it's running, it's working. I'm okay with it. Nothing super special, but it makes a job and it's cool and it's silent. So we just set TG Max to 85 degrees with a curve of -20. You don't touch this because we will disable GFX later. You don't touch this because we go into here. We use the XMP profile set or the X Pro profile, depends on which RAM stick or RAM you are using. Please keep in mind, it always makes more sense to only use 2 DIMMs instead of 4 DIMMs, just because of the memory controller, which is basically laid out for only 2 channels. And then you should only use them because the bandwidth and the megahertz on 4 DIMMs is way, way, way lower, and it's way less effective. Also, when you use 4 DIMMs, the voltage on the controller will be higher, and this also can punish or introduce you with latency. So that, by the way, was also one reason why I decided for this low tier memory here, the 5600 CL28 RAMs, which are basically very good and have a very tight timing overall with a small bandwidth, but totally okay for now. For me, for this chip, I may try something better later. I already tried XMP 6400 MHz G.Skill with a CL32 timing. They were very impressive, and to be honest, I watched a lot of videos in front before I was planning this PC and I was buying the gear, and all videos told me that the bandwidth or the overall bandwidth and the megahertz of the RAM on like the X3D chips, they don't matter. But I can tell you that's bullshit. It's totally bullshit. The way I use this mainboard and this CPU, it matters a lot. If you go for 6000, 6200 expos, they will have a very low latency and you will feel and hear it. Honestly, especially on interconnectivity of games, with the network adapter and with the sound and with the I/O, so with your mouse and keyboard, how it feels, how direct, how natural, it really makes some kind of way immersive, more natural feeling. Especially the sound with the 6400 CL32 was super clear. It was like in Apex, you were able to detail spot the sound for very, very far. Yeah, you would be able to just hear like single grenades very far away, for example, and spot them directly exactly where they are, with no distortion or like no side sounds. Very cool stuff. And I would love to go with way higher expo and with way better timings. I hope they tighten the stuff up on the 8000 series, which I'm really waiting for, and I hope it will be good. But for now, we go XMP or Expo, and on this boards, we can choose by competitive and aggressive DRAM performance modes. What are these? These are a little bit more tighter timings. This one is making uclock memclock half, and this one is making uclock memclock 1-to-1. I go with aggressive because the halving will introduce 1 to 3% percent in German. That's also a German lesson if you're interested in. We'll introduce some lower performance, so we just go with aggressive. Stability stays the same for me. It's pretty good, even though I have not that expensive memory sticks in there, not the high-end ones. It's the X5s. They're just mediocre. Infinity Fabric, you can touch, you can try. I just ranked it up to 2100. Was stable, was good. Gave very decent latency reduction and a very good bandwidth addition. But I just running it at 2000 to be super stable, super confident, you know, without just minding it. But one thing we need to do is we need to go into our CPU load line calibration to set the SoC and CPU load lines. What is this? This determines or like presets the voltage in relation to the load of the SoC and CPU. On this one, they use the Intel version of a load line, which basically means the 1 is the most stable, most highest voltage under every load. So you have a lot of load, you have a lot of voltage. If you use the 3, you have a lot of load, you don't have voltage. What we want? A lot of voltage, guys. We want power. Power like Jeremy Fragrance, guys. Bam! That's why we use the 1. So we go for 1. Jeremy, if you watch this, send me some stuff here. Some good smelling stuff. Send me some oud. I need oud. You know, bro. So we did this. We just disable cool and quiet mode. We don't need it. We just disable the SVM mode. I hope you don't use BlueStacks or the very, very special Tencent client for Android systems. Don't use it, guys. It's a virus. And then we disable FTPM switch because it still introduces some stutter. Yes, it does. Yeah, on Windows 10 and 11, yes. We just disable it. Here, everything is set already, very nice. To be honest, the base settings on this mainboard are very, very good. I worked a lot with it, and a lot of settings which I changed just forced the UEFI BIOS not to reboot again. I often resetted the BIOS. I also often repatched the BIOS version. So everything is set. ASRock support, you basically don't need it. It's just most likely the virtualization of your network adapters for directly network connection, like a network bridge from your virtual machine to your virtual network adapter. No one needs this. So we just, let's set it off. Here you can go into this one. I disabled the Bluetooth because I don't need it. Because I'm playing super cool 2.4 gigahertz mice, which have like, forget about it. I also disabled the WAN. What is a WAN? It's not a bang bus, guys. That's the wireless antenna radio, whatever you want to call it, internet connection based on 2.4 gigahertz. Why is also cool to disable it? One reason is because your wireless devices, also your headsets, work on the same frequencies, and the frequencies switch, and more like drivers and communication on the same frequencies will pollute, not gonna lie, will pollute it. And I, for example, have a router where I can scan the frequency and see how many clients are working on the same frequency in this area. And on like 19 o'clock in the evening, 20 o'clock, like the time now, right now, if I would switch it on and watch, there would be like 24 devices just in this area communicating on 2.4 gigahertz on the wireless frequency where also my wireless mouse is performing on. Just as a small information. Also, please don't have your wireless router close to your mouse or stuff like this. Small side information. It's for free, by the way. You don't need to pay. Just sub on my Twitch, guys. Thanks. Gene 5 redriver. Don't disable it, please. Your CPU basically uses this as his back. In Germany, we say Rücken. Das ist der Rücken. So That's the backup or the underlying base where your CPU and SoC is working on. It's very fast, and as you can see, it's the first time I see something showing this. It's not only about frequencies, it's also about voltages, and that's basically what people don't understand, or most people don't understand, that DPM targets and frequencies work like this, because if you, for example, run a device on a wrong PCI Express level, like on 4 or on 3, but it's a 4 or 3 device, so it's a 3 device and you run on 4, it will not work because the voltages to the rates will not fit. It will have different voltages on different data rates. So you will introduce latency and it will always feel off. For example, I run the 4090 I own in this, or which is set in the system on Gen 5. It feels just like shit. It's so off you can't imagine. So just leave it enabled, don't disable it, because it will introduce latency. That's basically it for here. We go into the storage configuration. Here you need to do nothing because it just is not used. Here you will do one thing. You will enable the S5. What is S5? It's when you push the button with your mouse and Windows to turn down your PC to make it off. It's maybe not really off because it's S5. It's in power state, and there you need to enable your USB power. Why? Because you want to charge your wireless mouse overnight. You don't want to charge it the next day. So enable this. Rest can be set as it is right now. You can disable PCIe device power on, but you don't need to. And then we go into the USB configuration. And this XHCI handoff is made for. Here it talks about ownerships and stuff. Basically, it's about switching it off to have USB 2.0 on 3.0 ports. So XHCI stuff will be handled, as you can see, the ownership will be handled off. So you have now, if you disable it, only USB 2.0 on 3.0 ports. It has to do with the, as we already talked some seconds ago about it, the voltages and the data rates. So if you want to have a super clean feeling on your mouse and the best like upscaling or like ramp up of your, for example, 4 or 8000 Hertz mouse, just disable it. But if you want to go for data transfer rates, enable it. But one thing, keep in mind, most normal devices which are not super complicated, or like storages or external or eGPUs or something like this, just run on the human interface device protocol, which is 2.0, and also like a few with the USB Audio 2.0s running on this. So everything you see here is running on 2.0, so you can just disable it. Legacy support, disable. It's for old stuff, and mass storage driver support also, because you don't, or I don't use mass storages on the system. I have no idea why I should, because I have a cloud, and I think you have a cloud too. Here's the trusted computer part, computing part. You don't need to change anything. Here's the AMD CBS advanced part of your UEFI. We go into this earlier. If you know my other videos, you would like go into prefetcher and set everything on enable. We don't do this anymore. We don't need to, because training mode is there. We disable the C state as always. Yes, we do. We want this. Okay. We don't have the boost to over 5 gigahertz, but we don't need it, because we don't need, like, what did I had, like 586 FPS full HD in Warzone. Who needs this? No one, because the drop is even harder. It's like the higher you fly, the harder you drop, guys. And we just want to fly a little bit below the highest line, or very steady, very fast, very long. That's what we do. That's why we set it to global C states off, disable. We also disable the C1 decorrelation to Windows. What is this? It's like you having a short nap in front of your TV on a Friday evening after 10 beer, 2 big buckets from KFC, and you're watching your favorite hentai, and you're just nipping a little bit all the way and you're getting awake by your, who is it? It's your fiance? Oh no, it's my fiance. But never mind. That's why we also did this to disable, because we just want to be awake the whole time like a real man. And then we go into the DF states, DFC states we also disable. Now someone really clever will say and write in the comments, yeah, but you disabled global C states already, so on auto it will be disabled the C states or the DF C states anyway. That's totally fine. That's just for my inner freedom, for the freedom of mind. I would disable it like I always do, and it works. Here you basically, I would advise you to change nothing, because makes no sense, gives zero efforts, only problems on the reboot. Northbridge IO, IO MMU, so MMU is German, MMU is English, so the basically management and storage of all the hardware addresses and communication lines and blah and blub and grouping, sorting, we just disable it because this introduces latency. Thanks. We should go with the RE support on auto and the RE enumerator, which is the 10-bit flag stuff for like 40Ks. It will help, believe me. We just put it on auto. If you don't need it, your mainboard will not need it. It won't use it anyway. Then we go into this one. Here is the GFX configuration of your CPU. What we do here is we will disable the iGPU and we make a very short break. See you in a second. This is the official La Onda Werbepause, Leute. Das ist Deutsch. No, it's German. Sorry, I was on the wrong video. This guy, this is the Pels. Very new, very exciting pad. Available on the most of our resellers. Very high quality. Control, soft, jacquard pad. Enjoy it. It's an insane pad for any shooter. Thanks for watching. We just continue, Northbridge IO, did we we were here already, guys. It was like done already. Woo, I forgot about this. The FCH, it's not the FC fentanyl or something like that. That's the spread spectrum, which is behaving or influencing your USB signals. And you don't want to have anything disordering or like whatever interrupting on your signal with your USB, because you want to beam people in every game. You want to have one-to-one feeling, instant headshot, flicking like a machine. So we disable this. Here you can disable and enable the controller if you want to, but there's no need to. Here is some very cool stuff. I don't know if those other mainboards have too, but I saw it on Gigabyte, I think, from CapFrameX. He posted something, there's something like this too. This basically is the CPPC preferred registry, which basically is the communication level registry with the CPPC protocol in your Windows 11, which is managing the power to load of your system and CPU direction. So if there is a lot of load, a lot of informations, Windows knows by the declaration of this one which chiplets and cores will get the data first and in which hierarchies and in which amount they will be loaded, because you have like some lazy guys, you have some good working guys, and you have some guys on testo. And this is basically, you say, I just want those guys, those Michael Phelps guys. You want the Huasim bolts of your CPU. We set this, it's an awesome feeling, believe me, way better communication on your network driver and also on your network card and on the sound, really cool stuff. That's the eco mode, by the way, you should have it on disable. If you enable it, it can restrict your power to 65 watts. You can use it when you know, for example, you have a chilly day on your system and you just want to save some energy and some heat, and you just set it down. So it basically also regulates the precision boost overdrive and everything else just down. It's like a total limitation of your CPU. It's on hard lock by the mainboard, and Windows can't overwrite it, by the way. So keep this in mind. If you use this, you need to reset it. The rest here we don't need to touch manually. Also, we don't touch the F clock DPM anymore, so we don't set like hard voltages, hard clocks on it. We don't set like the maximum. We just let it, or get it regulated by your new controller. There are a lot of very good new controller. The redriver here, for example, is like from Texas Instrument, which is a very, I looked up the chip. It's like a 21 euro chip just for the comparison of voltages and data rates, and it has basically zero latency. So why should I change something by hand? We just use this, and this has nothing to do with like energy savings costs. We disabled all energy savings already. Then we go into the SoC miscellaneous control. We don't need to change anything here, let it on auto. This is the PROM chipset control driver unit where you can save some stuff here. Also, you would be able to configure your PCI ports by hand with the voltages, with setting them on and off, with disabling them. You can also disable your serial RTR ports if you want to. But if you have it on auto, they will be disabled anyway because there's nothing connected on it. So we can have it like it is. Then we go into the precision boost overdrive part of the UEFI bias of the ASRock UEFI, and we see a lot of funny stuff. We can change this, for example, to enable, and then we go here, or we would let this on disable, but we don't do this. We just keep it disabled. So the clocks are always on. Always on is always good, because if something is always on, you don't need milliseconds to get it out of the sleep mode or something else to reactivate it. So no latency introduction if it's always on. So we go further. You don't need to configure those PCI Express lanes anymore. You don't need to tell your board that your card is 4.0 and not 3.0 because everything is just recognized by the chipsets, by the CPU. You have the latest or the newest possible chipsets on there, so everything is still fine. There's no outgraded or upgraded hardware available which is not fitting with the system, where you need, for example, like huge upgrades or need to set something by hand. You also don't need to set the link speed here or chipset link speed or whatever. One thing you really want to do is setting the PCI block clock, the 100 megahertz, for your CPU to exactly 100. How you would do it or how you can do it, you just disable the spread spectrum on the PCIe clock or on the CPU clock. That's basically this one. Why should you do this? The reason is this one would just like move the whole time you would do something on the load because it's reacting on the loads in general, on the load timings, on the load flanks, on highs and lows, and it will just jitter, for example, from 99.2 up to 100.4. And you don't want it because this will also be feelable, or you will also have the feeling of a non-linear consistent signal of your mouse, because your mouse is directly port connected from USB to CPU. And you don't want to have this, and that's why we disable this. And if you have a little bit more advanced mainboard, by the way, this mainboard is only 550 euro. That's not an advertisement or something. I just want to tell you that I will never go back to fucking Asus again, because they ripped me off so many times with fucking stupid expensive 1000 euro mainboards, which did not get any BIOS updates for more than a year. And for me, Asus is dead. Also for the AQN monitors, all the stuff, Asus is it's just over for me with Asus forever. That's why I love this BIOS, because I can set so many stuff and it has so many features, so good VRMs. It has an insane network card, guys. It has the killer, the Intel E3100 card on it, on board. It's PCI Express 3.1, and it never gets off like the 225V or 226i Intel trash card you have on your 2400 gigabyte mainboard. Bro, 500 euro. It's the most insane board I've ever seen for this money. It works like hell, it's stable, it's not loud. The fan for the CMOS is super silent at 3000 UPM. What should I want more? So I have two B clocks, a separate one for the PCI Express and for the CPU. What is cool on it, you would be able to overclock your CPU base clock, for example, to 103, 104, depends how much it will go high or go up and work for you. And you still can decide if you want to enable or disable the spread spectrum on CPU or on PCI Express. I keep it like this. That's pretty good. It's very clean signal. I have the Thunderbolt support enable. Thunderbolt is 4.0 USB on this one with an Intel chipset. So with an extra Intel chip, it's very good, very clean signal. I also had the FIU running for some time over it. It's very, very tickling, fast sound. It's pretty intense on this Sennheiser HD 800S. I just went back to normal USB, to be honest. So that's basically it. You should not go into here because everything you can set here is like, if you watch this video, way too advanced for you. I'm pretty sure, may not for everyone, but for 99.999%, it's way too advanced. The only thing you can look up here is the SoC Encore mode, and you should look this up. If you can't find it directly, just press this and go Encore, and then you see this SoC Encore mode, and it should be enabled because it just is basically you are unlocking every part of your system which is able to perform on a very high level, like the SoC, also the CPU, the RAM, the NOR bridge, to perform on the highest level. That's why you enable it, and the rest is just too much for you. For example, what I have here is like a super detailed, super advanced precision boost overdrive, but we don't need this. Another thing we should do is this here. Disable LED, apply to all channels, save to MCU. That's 3 FPS, guys, and that's 8000 Hertz on a 4000 Hertz mouse. So that's basically it for now. I will go to performance mode here for now. I don't need the secure boot. Secure boot, by the way, is for Valorant. If you want to play Valorant, just enable it. But I think you are not a loser when you're watching it, so you have it disabled anyway. And here you may go for disabling the fast boot, which is very cool when you're rebooting and want to have some stuff in the registries and Windows registries, which are also like grabbing into the UEFI system. So in the to-device system, you need a power off reboot, so you can run a fast reboot. So just disable it and go for slow reboot always, and then disable the full screen mode so you can just see what happens on the screen, like how many keyboards, XHIs and whatever. The setup prompt time means how long it shows you the informations. 1 second is fairly more than enough because we all play human benchmark daily, and my human benchmark is way below 0.125 milliseconds, so I can nearly press 10 times the Entfern button, the Dell button, by the way. Entfern is German, because I'm super fast. That's it. That's all you need, guys. CSM should be disabled. Thanks for watching. It looks like this if you've done everything right. Wish me luck. My PC explodes now. By the way, this will take some time because your memory controller, MCUs, the RAM and the CPU will go into training mode now. Also, the cache of the X3D will be trained and fully outread. All those informations will be cached, and it takes at least 1 minute. I think it takes 1:30 now. And the more RAM you use, the more RAM slots, so DIMMs in general you use, the longer it will take. There are some which need way above 6 minutes, by the way, for a reboot. And if you change anything on the RAM setting, it will need this time again. Just keep this in mind, guys. And now I will show you the Warzone benchmark from before and now with the with the setup we have done right now, so you can compare how the performance changed. Thanks for watching, guys. See you on the next video, and don't forget to buy Pelz. Let's go. Goodbye.